Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday prep day. It is only about 11:15 in the morning. I'm getting a much better start this week than I have been lately. So this week on the menu, super excited again. I'm going to do a chocolate chip pancake bake for breakfast. I think that's going to come out to about 5 points. And for lunch, I'm going to do a turkey kielbasa rice bowl. Not really focused on rice because I'm only going to have about 1/3 of a cup in each bowl, but it's going to be turkey kielbasa, a little bit of rice, and a lot of veggies. So super excited for that. That is going to be about 5 points. And then for dinners, I'm going to be pre-packaging, I believe, 3 dinners for this week. And then, of course, my snacks. So if you want to see how I meal prep breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks for my husband and I, then stay with me. If you are new to my channel, I do follow the WW Freestyle program, but you could definitely follow along and use this for any type of program. This is more about how to meal plan and meal prep. So I do give points in during this, but I also, on my website, I give the nutritional facts. So you can, if you're calorie counting, doing keto or whatever, you could definitely kind of use this as a guide. This isn't meant for you to necessarily copy, but just as a guide on how to meal plan and meal prep for the week. So welcome, my name is Christy and I am planning us healthy. So we're going to start with breakfast. So breakfast this week, chocolate chip pancake bake. I think this is going to be 5 points. So let me go through what you're going to need for this first. You will need 2 cups of Kodiak Cakes chocolate chip waffle mix. And let me tell you guys, I measured out, I just took like a regular measuring cup, the 1 cup, and scooped it out, scooped 2 equal cups into a big measuring cup, just because I wanted to get an idea if I did it that way, if it's close to when I put it on the scale. So when I put that on the scale, it came out to 325 grams for the mix. 2 cups worth of mix is only 212 grams. So by using a regular measuring cup, I was getting like 100 grams too much. So just an idea. And the reason I did that is because when I weighed it out first, it looked like it was only coming out to 1.5 cups. So that's what got me thinking, let me kind of look and see what that's coming out to. So definitely when you have things like this, flour, anything like that, make sure to put it on your scale, because that would have definitely been extra points that we would have been eating that we wouldn't have been counting for. So again, and sometimes when you put things on your scale, it's to your benefit. I think somebody told me that avocado actually comes out better for you when you put it on the scale. You get more. So just keep that in mind. Definitely weigh this out rather than measure. So 2 cups of that for 212 grams. And then you need 1.5 cups of almond milk. I am actually out of almond milk. I had some in there, but it was out of date, so I had to throw that away this morning. So I'm going to use the vanilla unsweetened almond milk, and I think it's going to come out just as good. Chocolate and vanilla go together, right? Then 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 egg, and then 2 overripe bananas. You can definitely see these are overripe bananas. 2 of those, and we're going to mash those up. And then I have just a small amount extra. There's already chocolate chips in this mix, but I want to just put a few of them on top. So I have about 132 of the mini chocolate chips, and that is the semi-sweet kind. So what I've done is sprayed my 13 by 9 inch pan with olive oil spray. And now I'm going to mash the bananas. Okay. Then just put everything right in your bowl. Everything except for the chocolate chips, because we're going to just put those over the top. And then we're gonna mix it all up. Okay, once that is all mixed, then just pour it into your prepared pan. And I'm using a 13 by 9 inch pan. If you want them a little bit thicker, then you could use a smaller pan, maybe like a 9 by 9. And this is gonna make 6 servings. I'm doing 3 servings for me, 3 for my husband. If you're new to my channel, I usually just prep out for 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday and Friday I don't prep for, we do something different. I don't like to keep it beyond 3 to 4 days in the fridge. Alright. And I've had my oven preheating for 350 degrees. So now I am going to bake that in the oven for about 25 minutes, and then I'll put the rest of the chocolate chips on after and just let those sit and melt itself. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is start cooking bacon. My husband and I decided that we wanted to do some bacon with the pancake bake. So when I made the blueberry pancake bake, we actually had turkey kielbasa that we had with that. But since I'm doing turkey kielbasa for the lunches, we decided to just do 2 slices of bacon with each breakfast. So this is the Appleton Farms bacon that I get from Aldi. This is 1 point for 2 slices. So that will make the full breakfast be 6 points. It'll be 5 for the pancake bake, 1 for the bacon, and then I'm also going to use some sugar-free syrup, which is 0 points for 1/4 cup. So I'm going to start my bacon. I had my, I cooked this in the air fryer. I cook it on 400 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes. It depends on how much you like it done. So I basically just put the whole thing in there. And if there's extra, I just keep it in my fridge for the week. But we are actually having BLTs this week, and I think we may just have BLTs. I have BLTs down for Thursday, but I think we may have it tonight, and Thursday we'll do London broil, because we were going to do London broil today and I forgot to take it out. And with London broil, I like to marinate that overnight in Olive Garden light dressing. So since I didn't do that, I think we're just going to do BLTs tonight. So I just do it like that. Just put one row one way, one row the other way. And then when it's about halfway done, I'll just flip it, kind of flip it over, stir it around, and then put it back in. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is weigh out my syrup, and I'm not sure if I have enough in here actually. Okay, so I'm going to use just 1/8 of a cup. I think I said 1/4 of a cup. I'm going to use 1/8 of a cup, which is about 30 milliliters in each one. And these little containers, I got these round ones and these little square ones. I got these at the Dollar Tree, and they're pretty good. The tops are not snap-on, so you definitely have to be careful. I wouldn't just throw this in a bag. Definitely make sure that they're secure. I would not trust it. But I got them at the Dollar Tree for, it comes with 10 in a package for $1. Okay, so now that that is done, while I wait for the pancake bake and I wait for the bacon, I'm going to start on lunches. Okay, so the bacon has been cooking for a little bit, so now I'm just going to take it and flip it over and just kind of, so it doesn't all cook too much on one side. And then I'm going to put it back in. I have about maybe, it's been in there about 10 minutes, so I'm going to put it back in for about 5 minutes and see how it looks. Okay, so for the lunch, I am using turkey kielbasa. This is a turkey Polska kielbasa. I don't know if that makes it, if there's a difference with the kind. And I'm going to be using 18 ounces. So in each one of these, there's 13 ounces. So I'm going to use 18 ounces of that. I am going to use, I have a red pepper, a yellow pepper, an orange pepper, and I have a little bit of green pepper left that my husband used on his stromboli last night. We had strombolis in the air fryer, and they were so good. So I'm going to be using those. And I think on my recipe, I didn't put the orange one. I just said a yellow and red one. So you can kind of use whatever vegetables you want. It doesn't have to be this. Just put whatever you want. I am really going to be using a lot. I'm also going to use a red onion. I am going to use some Brussels sprouts that I'm just going to cut in half, maybe a quarter. I think maybe I'll cut them into quarters. And then I also have some broccoli down in here that I'm going to put on there, and also some butternut squash, and I think that is it. I do have a few mushrooms here, but I'm not sure if I'm going to use those or not. Normally I would use my chopper when I have this many vegetables, but because I don't want it chopped into small pieces, I'm just going to hand chop it myself, and then I will put them on the tray. Alright, so what I've done is taken a cookie sheet and lined it with aluminum foil, and then I just sprayed it with olive oil spray, and then that way when I cut my vegetables, I'll just throw them right on that tray. So this is quite a bit. So I think I'm not going to use the orange pepper after all. And I forgot, I'm also using a zucchini and squash. So I am going to cut those on. This is going to be a lot of vegetables. Alright, now I have to fit the butternut squash. I might have to do this in 2 trays. Alright, I'm going to definitely do this in 2 trays. So what I'll do is I'll just split it in half, and then that way we'll one tray will be for each of us. But this looks so good. I love vegetables. Alright, let me get another pan out, clean up a little bit, and I'll come back to you. Alright, so in the meantime my bacon's done, so I've just got it on a piece of paper towel so that I can just soak up the grease from it. Alright, now I am going to just transfer half of this to the other pan. And I've already sprayed my aluminum foil with olive oil spray. Okay, that is much better. Okay, the other thing I was going to use was carrots, but I decided not to use carrots because I am having carrots for dinner one night, and I'm afraid I won't have enough if I use them. And as you can see, we've got plenty of vegetables here. Okay, so after everything is on the tray, the other thing I'm going to add is garlic, but I'm going to add that at the end because I don't want that to burn on there. So now I'm going to add a teaspoon of ranch dressing mix onto each tray. And some Italian seasoning. And then if you want to add salt and pepper. And then I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of olive oil onto each one. Just drizzle it over it. And then just kind of mix those around a little bit, just to get it all mixed together. And now we're going to add the kielbasa, and in order for me to keep it, I'm going to use 18 ounces of kielbasa, and it's going to come out to 9 ounces per person. So for each day, we're going to have 3 ounces each day. So what I'm going to do is just try to put, since one tray is mine and one tray is my husband's, I'm going to try and put the kielbasa just for one day in a section and then the second day in another section so that I don't have to weigh it out after. Because the vegetables are 0, but this way I'll know exactly how much to put in the bowl when it's done. Okay, so each portion is going to have that much for each day. So I'll just cut that up into pieces. And then just put it over top of it. And then for the next 3 ounces I cut up, I'm going to put that like in the middle, and then the other 3 ounces I'll put at the end. And then that way I know that's how much needs to go in each bowl. All right, so I'll finish cutting these up. So I've got the trays ready, so hopefully you can see how I separated. So there's just a space in between each section of the turkey kielbasa so that I know that's how much is needed. So when I mix it, what I'm going to do is put it in a 400-degree oven. This is going to bake for about 25 minutes. About halfway, I'm going to kind of mix it up, so I'm just going to have to be very careful that I don't mess up the kielbasa. So I will get that in the oven. In the meantime, my breakfast bake is done. So I just went ahead and poured the little bit of chocolate chips over the top, and I'm just going to let those sit. That's got to cool. I can't really cut that. So I'm going to put these in the oven now, and then I will start on dinner. Okay, guys, it's time for dinners. So if you are new to my channel, this is how I do my dinners. I don't cook them like I do breakfast and lunch. I'm just pre-packaging them. So I'm weighing out things, like if I'm having potatoes, I'm weighing out the potatoes, cutting some of the vegetables, like for instance, the night that we have the carrots, I'll just cut the ends off the carrots, but I don't wash the vegetables or anything. I just put them in the bag the way they are, and then I wash them the night that we have them. This just makes it a little bit easier during the week, so I can just pull the dinner out of the fridge and everything's already prepackaged for my husband and I. I usually just make enough for 2 portions. I do sometimes change things. Sometimes life happens, and sometimes during the week you know, for instance, tomorrow night's supposed to be salmon, but something might come up tomorrow night where we're not home. And if that's the case, then I'll just bump this to the next night and have to adjust. And if worse comes to worse, then I just put something in the freezer. But things do happen that we change it up. So what I do, so for the night that we have the air fryer basil parmesan salmon, you guys know I love this recipe. This recipe was adapted off of the Skinny Taste website. She has so many good recipes. You'll see a lot of my recipes are adapted from her recipes, and I change things up, but she's got some great recipes out there. So what I'm going to do is take the asparagus. So with the asparagus, I will cut off the ends. My dog's itching herself. Sounds like somebody's knocking on the door. I'm going to just cut off the ends of the asparagus because I don't cook those. And I'm just going to go ahead and cook it all, because if I don't cook the asparagus all, then it's just going to go to waste in my fridge. So that's it. I just put the asparagus in the bag and then I'll wash it tomorrow night. So there's that. The other thing I need is for the topping for the salmon. It's going to be mayonnaise, Parmesan, and basil. And then some salt and pepper, which salt, pepper, if something calls for like small amounts of something or like butter, things like that, I don't put that in the bag. I do that the night that we have it. So I'm going to put about 6 basil leaves. So I've got about 6 basil leaves. This gets cut up and mixed in with the mayonnaise and Parmesan, but I don't do that tonight, or I don't do that today, because I'm afraid that the basil will overpower it'll be too strong. So I'm just going to cut the basil today and put it in a bag, and then I'll mix it in with the mayonnaise and Parmesan mixture tomorrow night. That way it's not such an overpowering taste. I'm using Hellmann's light mayonnaise. This is what keeps the points down. So we want 3 tablespoons. And then 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. Probably should have used a bigger container. All right, and just mix it up real good. And then, like I said, tomorrow night, I will mix the basil with this, and that will be the topping. And then the only other thing there'll be is another ½ tablespoon of Parmesan. So I'm going to mix the mayonnaise and Parmesan with the basil. I'm going to spread that over the salmon, and then I'm going to pour just another ½ tablespoon of Parmesan over it. And then it goes in the air fryer, and it is so good. All right, so now I have my salmon. I already have this pre-portioned into 2 pieces. I'll put that in there. And then the other thing we're having with this is long grain and wild rice. This is just the 90-second rice that goes in the microwave. And I'm just putting that in the bag just to show you what I'm having with it. So that's what I do with my dinners. That's it. So now I'm going to move on to the next one. The next one is super easy. This one is going to be turkey tenderloin, and I think I'm just going to do a plain turkey tenderloin. Maybe with some stone ground mustard on it and just roast it. And I'm going to do it with potatoes, carrots, and gravy. So for the carrots, I'm just going to cut the ends off. I'm not going to cut them up tonight. I'll cut them the night that I have them. Garbage bag is getting full over there. So those are going to go in the bottom of the bag. And then I have 3/4 of a pound of potato that I will cut up and roast with that. And then I have my turkey tenderloin. I have about 10 ounces of that. We'll get 5 ounces a piece. And then I'm just going to put some stone ground mustard in a container, and I'm just going to brush that over the turkey tenderloin and roast it for about 30 minutes the night that we have it. So the turkey tenderloin I actually already had portioned. All right, the other thing I'm going to put in there is a couple green onions. And I'm going to be using turkey gravy with this, and I just got the packet kind, so I'll go ahead and put that in there as well. So that is it for that one. And these are going to be, this one is going to be 6 points per serving. The salmon is going to be 5 points per serving. And I'm going to have these recipes on my website, planningishealthy.com, and I will have them linked down below in the description box, all the recipes that you see today, the breakfast, the lunch, the dinners. I don't have one for the turkey tenderloin yet. Like I said, I'm not really doing anything with this one, except for roasting it in the oven. So I'm just going to roast it in the oven, probably 400 degrees for about a half an hour. And like I said, I'm just going to brush the turkey tenderloin with the mustard. If I do anything different to it, then I will go ahead and make a recipe for it. So that's that one. And finally, Wednesday night, I'm going to be doing Kickin Chicken Parmesan with roasted broccoli. I'm not going to have potato or rice with this one. And you know what? Tomorrow night with the salmon, I don't know that I'm going to have the rice with that because I'm going to be having rice in with the lunch. So I'll see. It just depends on if I feel bloated or not. I may just have the vegetables with the salmon. So Kickin Chicken Parmesan with roasted broccoli. This is so good. So I'm just going to put broccoli down in the bottom of the bag. And I'm going to put a lot, as I've told many of you, my dogs like broccoli, so I always try and make a little bit extra for them. All right, the next thing I have is a can, actually it's about 3/4 of a can of Rotel, the tomatoes and diced chilies. So I have that in there, and that is going to be for the topping for on top of the chicken. And the next thing I need, I'm going to use 1½ tablespoons of seasoned breadcrumbs and 1½ tablespoons of the whole wheat panko. You don't have to mix them. You can just use, it's something I've always done. I don't know why. When something calls for breadcrumbs, I use half and half. But you can use whatever breadcrumbs that you want. So we want 1½ tablespoons of that. 1½ tablespoons of this one. So if you're just using regular, just use 3 tablespoons. And then 1 tablespoon of Parmesan. And you can mix all that into one container. I'm not sure if you could see me here. And anytime you're making recipes like this, please don't go exactly based on my points. My points are based on the brands that I use and the reduced fat. So depending on the brand you use, things can be different. So definitely build, if you use different brands than me, make sure to build it in your recipe builder so you're getting the proper points for it. So this is the topping for the chicken. So you're going to use a half a tablespoon of light butter. You're going to melt the butter and then just brush it with the chicken, and then just press this onto the chicken, and that'll be the topping. Then you'll put your Rotel on top of that, and then cheese on top of that. So for the cheese, I'm using Polly-O part skim mozzarella. My scale is a mess, so let me do this. And I'm going to need 1.5 ounces of cheese. Okay, there. And then put our chicken in there. I have my chicken already pre-portioned. I get my chicken in bulk and I vacuum seal it, pre-portion it, vacuum seal it. These pieces, this is 2 breasts and they're about 5 ounces, 5 to 6 ounces each is usually what I do. So that is how I do my dinners. So I'm done with the dinners. Now I am going to check on the lunch and see how we're doing with that. The time is about up. All right, guys, our lunch is done. It looks so good. It smells so good. How long you keep it in there depends on how you like it. I like mine real cooked, so I keep mine in there for the full 30 minutes. I then just drizzled some garlic over top of it and put it in there for like maybe another 2 minutes. So I'm going to let these cool down, and in the meantime, I am going to put my snacks together. Okay, guys, so for snacks, I pretty much do the same thing. I always do Snack Factory pretzels, and I either have that with Laughing Cow cheese or queso dip. This week I'm going to do queso dip, and usually I get the queso dip, the Mama Casita queso dip at Aldi. But we went to Sam's Club, so I picked up the Tostitos brand. They're both the same. They're 1.42 tablespoons. So I just pre-portion my pretzels into little snack bags. I weigh them out. I do about 4 of them for the week. And then I do fruit. This week I'm cutting up a watermelon, a cantaloupe, and then I also have blackberries and blueberries too. So I will just put those in bowls and we eat those throughout the week. For my other breakfast, so as you guys know, I only did 3 breakfasts and 3 lunches and 3 dinners. So for my other breakfast this week, I'm having yogurt and fruit one morning, and then I am having my cereal. This is 30 grams of Fiber One cereal, and some people have asked me which kind I use. So I just use the original. It's 2 points for 30 grams. So I measure out the 30 grams, and then I measure out my almond milk. So this is almost a half a cup of almond milk. And then I just take that to work with me. For my other 2 lunches this week, I think Thursday I'm probably going to do a tuna sandwich. And then Friday I am probably going to go out to lunch with my husband. I'll meet him probably at Subway or something. So that is what I do for those. And then for dinners, for those of you who are new, I just don't prep beyond Wednesday. And that way, if something happens during the week that I need to bump dinner down a day, then that's fine. Otherwise, Thursday night I was planning on BLTs, but we may do BLTs tonight. So if I do that, then Thursday night we'll do something else. Maybe London broil that we were going to do today. Or sometimes I'll swing by Publix and get a sub. It just depends. And then Friday, I'm probably going to do fish fry. So I don't prep those though. So I am going to weigh out my pretzels and get my fruit cut up, and then we'll portion out the lunch and breakfast. clean this stuff up. So I have watermelon, I have, and that's really overflowing, so we'll probably snack on some of this after I'm done, and then I might put it in a bigger bowl. And then I have cantaloupe, blackberries, and blueberries that we can have throughout the week. And now I'm gonna clean some of this up, and then I will portion out the breakfast and lunch. Okay guys, so we are almost done. So I am going to portion these out. So I'm going to cut these into 6. And then once they're in 6, then I'm just going to go ahead and cut each of those pieces in half. So it'll be like having 2 pieces. Okay. And hopefully they're both the same size. I'm a bad guesser on the size of stuff. So just take your spatula and kind of go around the edges just to make sure it doesn't stick. Oh, that looks good. All right, so I'm just gonna put these, so I'm gonna put 2 slices, look at that, you guys, oh my gosh. So I'm gonna put those in there, and then I'm gonna put 2 slices of bacon. And our syrup. So that will be a breakfast. So that's actually gonna be a 6-point breakfast. So I'm gonna finish portioning these out, and then I will portion out the lunch. Okay, so we have all the breakfast done. So now I'm going to portion out the lunches. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is put our lunch bowls together. So I'm just going to use this 90-second ready rice that I use when we have salmon. So I'm just going to put about 1/3 of a cup in each container. So I'm going to put just about 45 grams in each bowl. What I was afraid of. All right, I'll have to open another bag. I thought we would have enough. It says servings per container about 2, but they were a little off. That word about, that's what gets them. Okay, and then we're just gonna take our individual portions and just put it right over top of it. What the lunch looks like. Smells so good. Okay, you guys, we did it. That's it. So now I'm going to put the whole spread out and show you what we ended up with. All right, guys, so here's what we ended up with, and there's my water still sitting there. You can see I've hardly drank any of it. That's just the way it goes when it's prep day. All right, so start down here with the fruit: watermelon, cantaloupe, blackberries, blueberries. This will last all week, probably through the weekend. This is quite a bit of fruit, so this will last us all week, definitely. And then we have our yogurt down here. These are 2-point Greek yogurts, and we have those either for snack or sometimes for breakfast. Our 2-point snack pack sugar-free chocolate puddings. Those are our favorite. We usually have one of those every single night. And then Snack Factory pretzels. There is 3 points worth in there, 1 ounce or 28 grams. And then I will have that with 2 tablespoons of Tostitos queso dip for 1 point. And then I have my almond milk, unsweetened vanilla almond milk, my 501 cereal. That will be a 2-point breakfast. I didn't get bananas this week. Usually I cut banana up in there, but I didn't get any bananas this week. And then for breakfast, oh, yum, chocolate chip pancake. You can see it kind of smeared a little bit. That's okay. I'm probably gonna go ahead and just take a knife and smear those over because I'm afraid that once I put the tops on them, it's gonna stick to the top. So these are a 6-point breakfast, 5 for the pancake bake, 1 for the bacon, and then 0 for the syrup. And then lunches, these are 5-point lunch bowls. So we've got our rice in there and our kielbasa and vegetables, and that smells so good. I cannot wait to have that. And then for dinners, I have the air fryer Basil-Parmesan Salmon for 5 points, turkey tenderloin with roasted potatoes and carrots for 6 points, and the Kickin Chicken Parmesan with roasted broccoli for 4 points. Okay, guys, that's it. Now I can drink my water. So another week. So if you're new to my channel, I hope that you will subscribe. Go ahead and click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you're notified anytime I upload new content. Okay, guys, so I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I am Christy, and I am planning us healthy.